Hello and welcome. Tonight, federal government races against time to address the fuel shortage as Vice President Kashim Shatima summons Minister of State for Petroleum and the NNPCL-G CEO for a meeting at the presidential villa. Long queues persist across major cities in the country. Motorists claim there's still insufficient supply of product, with prices ranging between 855 and 970 naira per litre. And President Bola Tinubu seeks consolidation of economic partnership with the Republic of China. Continues his drive for more investments into the country and for the African continent.
On business news, Central Bank's Purchasing Managers Report for August shows that economic activities expand for the first time in 13 months as index rises to 50.2.
On sports, Nigeria's Junior Tigers bounced back from their opening defeat at the FIBA Under-18 Afro Basketball competition to thrash Zimbabwe 107-30 in Pretoria, South Africa.
And from the nation's capital, it's a sad day for residents of Kano as 3 children are killed after a 2-story building collapses in the Sabongeri area of Kano metropolis.
And in international news from London, the Ugandan Olympic athlete Rebecca Cheptegei has died days after being doused in petrol and set on fire by a former boyfriend.
Vice President Kashim Shatima has summoned the Minister of State for Petroleum, Mr. Heineken Lokobiri, the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPCL, Mele Kyari, and the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, over the recent price hike of petrol across the country. Briefing State House correspondents after the meeting, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Oil, Heineken Lokobiri, said they had a very fruitful discussion with the Vice President on how to resolve the lingering fuel scarcity in the country.
The Minister of State for Petroleum, Oil, Mr. Heineken Lokobiri, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mr. Mele Kyari, representative of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, and the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, are in the presidential villa to meet with Vice President Kashim Shatima. The meeting, which holds behind closed doors, is at the instance of President Bola Tinubu, who has directed the Vice President to address the current scarcity of premium motor spirit across the country. Long queues of vehicles have become a common sight across Nigeria. While many petrol stations claim not to have the product for sale, those with the product are selling at exorbitant rates. The recent hike in the pump price of the product has also sparked concerns among citizens, with motorists and commuters having a hard time. The meeting of the Vice President with the stakeholders lasted for a few hours, after which the State House correspondents were briefed on the outcome of the meeting.
Summoned by the Vice President, who was directed by Mr. President to summon this meeting, and we've been with him to brief him what is going on across the country. And what is important is for us to convey to Nigerians that the President is empathetic about what is going on in the country. He's concerned about the hardship of Nigerians, and that was why he directed the Vice President to call this meeting, for us to reflect on what is going on in the country. Products are available in the country. And we believe that between now and the weekend, there will be availability of products across the length and breadth of the country. The price could be high in some other areas, much more. Higher in some other locations, in some locations much more than other areas. But we believe that by the time there is availability of products across the country, the price itself will stabilize. But what is important is that government is not fixing prices. this sector is deregulated, and we believe that with the availability of products, the price will find, its level.
Some regulatory measures have also been put in place.
The regulator is ensured that there's increased operating hours from all loading depots. Vessels are being cleared promptly, and extended hours where safety can permit for truck outs as well. More importantly also is the reinforcement of the support being given to local refiners, because with increased production from them, indeed, like the minister has said, there will be higher supply, which will stabilize the price.
While the promise to ensure the availability of petrol before the weekend may sound cheering, Nigerians are also hopeful that the issues around the product's pricing will be addressed. From the presidential villa, Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
Following the latest increase in the pump price of premium motor spirit, many Nigerians across the country are expressing anger and frustration, as they say this has made life more unbearable. Many stations have been under lock and key, while those selling have seen long queues. Our correspondent Ayola Kashim in this next report looks at the fuel situation in some parts of the country.
One of those rare days when driving in Lagos is a delight, but not for the right reasons, as petrol scarcity seems to be getting worse. Queues as long as 2 kilometers in some areas.
Is there assurance that you're going to get fuel?
I don't even think so, because with what I'm seeing there, I don't even know whether there is fuel at all.
But you're waiting?
Yes, we are waiting because we saw those bike that, around there. So we are believing that there is fuel there, but I don't know. We're just waiting. If there's fuel, we'll buy.
Water transport is taking a hit due to a ban on jerry cans. Boat Captain Adolu Felix is one of those lamenting the situation.
We are came here this morning. I want to buy fuel. They say they're not set for keg, jerry can. We are begging the federal government to find the solution to sell keg, to sell for keg. We are begging them. This morning now, I never eat, I never drink any water again. We go NAPC, they say they're not sell. We go Mobi, they say they're not sell. Now our boat is, they follow me now. You just let it there. They're not saying fuel to carry, go back to Kurudu now.
The ban in the meantime hasn't stopped petrol hawkers from the streets, and a 5-liter keg now goes for a minimum of 5,000 naira on Lagos streets. Despite pump price of petrol ranging between 855 and 970 naira, and the story is not different elsewhere. From Calabar in Cross River to Sokoto, Ibadan in Oyo State to Kukawa in Borno, rising cost of petrol is leaving most Nigerians frustrated.
We used to collect that time 1,000, 1,500, but now that's the same equipment that we collect 1,000, 1,500. Now it's 5,000 naira we charge. And we charge all this money, okay, like now we carry 10 passengers now, which is 50,000 naira. Where we normally buy fuel of from here now to you. That time we used to buy that time we collect 5,000. We used to buy fuel of 4,000 for to and flo. But now we bought fuel of 45,000 for our to and flo. What if we can't now reach you now and at the reach you now we know Sipanyas now come back now. Means that you have to sleep, we have to spend night over day until the day that we Sipanyas over day before we can now come back. And look at now, the small money the small that even remain in our pockets. Road safety police on the road will not even allow us to even enjoy.
900 naira per liter. 900 naira per liter. That is too much. It's too much. It's killing business. And tomorrow now you have to, because I bought 30 liters now. By next week Monday, I still have to come back and buy another 30 liters. And how much is the salary? That people will be using 60,000 naira or 80,000 naira to be buy salary to be buy for in a month. It's killing.
For some others, they simply seek availability with the rising cost of petrol. This lady in Abeokuta, southwest Nigeria, doesn't understand why the scarcity lingers even when the price has increased. She's even more saddened that after the stress of queuing, many are still shortchanged.
So sad that when you want to get a fuel of 10 liters, and by at the end of it, you get 6 liters. It's crazy. Let all these regulatory bodies come out, check all the fuel pumps, and make everything suitable for everybody.
For the economists monitoring the situation, while reforms are needed to boost the economy, government must be seen to do right by the people.
In the long run, what they are doing, it's actually a difficult decision to do, and it's a new down for us to accept. But is it sustainable? When we achieve what we want to achieve with the number of people in abject poverty, will you call that a success? And I think the success will be relative in that terms.
For decades, Nigeria has been importing petrol despite being a top oil producer. 4 refineries have remained non-functional despite billions of naira being spent on turnaround maintenance.
Latest by early August, the Port Harcourt refinery oil will start producing products.
NNPCL's group CEO in July, but it is now first week in September, and none of the refineries is producing petrol. But with the Dangote refinery coming on stream, the question is there hope of better days ahead?
For the stations that have petrol to sell, the queues are getting longer and the price is higher. No one seems to understand government's end game. And the word of the street is that current government policies are making people poorer and their lives harder. Ayola Kashim, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the minority caucus of the House of Representatives vehemently condemns the recent announcement by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to increase the price of petrol, a development the caucus says is not only ill-timed but also grossly insensitive to the harsh economic conditions currently being experienced by Nigerians across the country. A statement by the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Kingsley Chinda, says at a time when the nation is grappling with unprecedented economic challenges, including rising inflation, unemployment, and the depreciating value of the naira, any further increase in the price of petrol will only exacerbate the suffering of the average Nigerian. The statement adds that the ripple effects of such an increase are far-reaching, impacting the cost of transportation, food, and other essential goods and services, believing this will ultimately erode the already fragile purchasing power of millions of citizens, pushing more families into poverty. The caucus therefore called on the federal government to urgently intervene and reverse this unwarranted increase in petrol prices. President Bola Tinubu has commended the flourishing economic partnership between Africa and China, which has seen trade between the two regions reaching an estimated $280 billion. The president was speaking during the opening ceremony of the 2024 summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation taking place in Beijing, China. President Tinubu said despite global challenges, the partnership has remained firm. He also emphasized the importance of maintaining the momentum in order to deepen the partnership for the mutual benefit of both regions.
Thanks to African Union for having been very consistent in their advocating for global peace, working towards the realization of its vision for a peaceful and secure Africa, as articulated in the Agenda 2063. Your Excellencies, as the world searches for new ways to address peace and security challenges, I would say there is an urgent need to rethink approach to global governance and economic development around the world. Embracing multilateralism and rejecting protectionism and strengthening cooperative partnership are essential if we were to achieve lasting peace, security, and stability and prosperity for the future generations. Nigeria has played a pivotal role in ECOWAS evolution, transitioning from an economic bloc to a security framework for West Africa, Nigeria, It's been there.
In part 2, after the break, the court fixes September 12 for hearing of all applications on forfeiture of monies and properties linked to former governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Plus, the PDP and APC continue their campaigns ahead of the September 21st governorship poll in Edo State. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live from Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Federal government races against time to address the fuel shortage as Vice President Kashim Shatima summons Minister of State for Petroleum, Oil and the NNPCL GCEO for a meeting at the presidential villa. Long queues persist across major cities in the country. Motorists claim there's still insufficient supply of product, with prices ranging between 855 and 957 naira per litre. President Bola Tinubu seeks consolidation of economic partnership with the Republic of China, continues his drive for more investments into the country and for the African continent. And Olympic athlete Rebecca Cheptegei has died days after being doused in petrol and set on fire by a former boyfriend or ex-boyfriend. To politics, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, continued its statewide campaigns ahead of the September the 21st governorship election in Edo State. At today's rally, the party addressed supporters at rallies in Isan West and Isan Central local government areas. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki, just like most of the party leaders at the rallies, insists that no form of election malpractice will be tolerated during the polls.
The PDP governorship campaign train returns to the Central Senatorial District as they head to Egwari and Irua in Eshan local government area of Edo State. Individual performances, different support groups display their affection for the PDP team. The campaign team then mounts the rostrum to address the gathering.
For social media yesterday,
their message is clear, maintaining that the PDP remains the best option for Edo State.
if una like the hunger when una dey go through, una fit vote otherwise. But if una wan reverse everything when una don go through in the last 1 year, which party una go vote for? PDP. The only way we can appreciate the governor for what he has done for us. Yes, sir. It's not easy for us because we're in the minority, but for fairness and justice, he decided to give us this opportunity, and we are not going to disappoint him.
Building on that momentum, the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, and the governorship candidate take the center stage. Mr. Obaseki insists that the September 21st Edo governorship election cannot be rigged under his watch.
Our president, now Democrats, he believes in free and fair election. And he don't say we must get free and fair election in Edo. So people feel tries on Yamanyama, but because I'm the chief security officer for this state, they're going to meet us for here. The
PDP governorship candidate Asu Ighodalo runs off his speech by suggesting some reasons for the current situation facing the country.
Mama and Papa they here. If you're picking they cry, you don't go say what did they make you cry? Rubbing eye, make sure say no cry again. We they cry, they don't answer us. When we cry, they go kick us, say you're a foolish widow, get out. When they cry, they go kick us, foolish widow, get out. They say go and die. When they cry, instead make them hold us, say that person will get that can bind mind. If he do good for us, I rest my case. Abi?
The campaign team is done for the day, but the drive to woo the electorate for votes in the 2024 governorship election continues.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress in Edo State on Wednesday took its campaign ahead of the September the 21st governorship poll to Ovia Southwest local government area of the state, where, in addition to other promises, the party vowed to give adequate representation as well as provide good governance for every area of the state. The visit also took the team to Igbo-Buzua, the hometown of the APC deputy governorship candidate Dennis Idahosa.
Ugogui, Udo and Use are some of the wards in Ovia Southwest local government area the APC campaign team toured on Wednesday in its mission to garner votes for its candidates on 21st September.
When you talk like pastors, we have a whole pastor who is following us. When I say progress, not by miracle. This progress will be brought about by the next government.
Mechanized farming we will introduce to our farming. We will provide stock loan for the women, for the market women. All you just need to do is for you to have a cooperative society in this community.
Another stop is at Igbo-Buzua, still in Ovia Southwest local government area. It's the hometown of the deputy governorship candidate Dennis Idahosa.
By the grace of God, he said, make I tell you now development, now they bring come Edo State. He said, not going to be the governor of Edo Central. He's going to be the governor of Edo State. He said, he will work for the 3 senatorial districts that makes Edo State simultaneously.
Some of the APC leaders in the state say the people's response to the APC campaign visits, in addition to past incidents in the state, have given plenty of encouragement to the APC.
A man who disenfranchised for 6 constituencies, which is about 11 local governments, will, including my very humble self, will he expect those 11 local governments to vote for him? Remove 11 local governments from 18 local government. His candidate has already lost.
The love has been massive, and we are very optimistic. Special grace of God, on September 21st, it's on Monday, is going to emerge as the next governor of Edo State.
Today's campaign activities were rounded off on a spiritual note, with prayers for the deputy governorship candidate from the traditional leader in Igbo-Buzua.
The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has fixed Thursday, September the 12th, for hearing of all applications on a suit seeking to forfeit permanently some monies and properties linked to former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele. Justice Dende Dikbeolu fixed the date after listening to the submissions of all the counsels in the matter. At the resumed hearing of the matter today, Bilkisu Buhari Bala appeared for the EFCC, while Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Olalekan Ojo, appeared for the former CBN governor. Another lawyer, Chibuzo Okwara, announced his appearance for the occupants of 8A Adekunle Lawal Road, Ikoyi, Lagos, one of the properties sought to be forfeited by the EFCC to the federal government. The EFCC counsel, Mrs. Buhari Bala, told the court that the matter was fixed for today for report of compliance of the orders made on August the 15th this year. On that day, the vacation judge at the time, Justice Akitayo Aluko, had ordered an interim forfeiture of a cash sum of $2.045 million and some landed property linked to the embattled former CBN governor. The court had also forfeited the publication of the forfeiture order in the newspapers to enable interested persons come forward to show cause why a permanent forfeiture order of the assets should not be made. Now let's head to the nation's capital, where Gloria Umezoke is standing by to give us the very latest from Abuja's studios. Gloria?
Thank you, Ayo. We turn attention now to Kano, where 3 children have been confirmed dead, while 1 girl is still trapped under the rubble after a building collapsed in Sabongeri area of the state in northwest Nigeria. However, both parents of the children have been rescued following the combined efforts of officials of the National Emergency Management Agency, the Red Cross, and the Nigerian police. Our correspondent, Sadiq Ilyasu, reports.
A 2-story building housing a family of 6 collapsed, catching them while they were in their beds in the Sabongeri area of Kano State. Looking worried, neighbors stand by as rescue operations continue to save those that are believed to be trapped under the rubble.
The children are directly under me in the section. It's around some minutes past 5, I was called by one of my youth members that the building here collapsed and they are here. So I rushed down from my house. My house is not far from here. So I rushed down to this place and we swept into action.
The parents were rescued alive and are receiving treatment in the hospital.
I'm sorry, 3 people died, 2 survived, hospitalized. Now there is only 1 we are suspecting, and that's why the rescue is still ongoing to see that up to the, if we can be able to see.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, along with other officials, have been on ground since the incident.
Yeah, actually around 5:15 a.m., I was informed that there is a building collapsed in this area, that is no man's land, Sabangari, Kano. So I started making torches to mobilize. As you know, we are a coordinating agency. So I started just calling the stakeholders, informing them. So we came here, we already met State Fire Service, have already started such a rescue operation. So I call all the remaining stakeholders to support them. You can see police are here, Kanubda are here, Red Cross are here, and all other response agencies are here.
The building collapse is believed to be caused by a presumed landslide due to heavy rainfall.
And we understand that the building is maybe collapsed due to the landslide at the edge of this Jakara River.
The tragic incident highlights the urgent need for improved building safety measures in the state. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
At least 5 persons were seriously wounded and 3 others abducted after bandits in their numbers, armed with sophisticated guns, including AK-47 rifles, attacked Magama Jibia border town in Jibia local government area of Katsina State. A member of the Jibia Security Committee told Channels Television correspondent via telephone call today that the bandits overpowered the security personnel who were deployed to repel them. He said the hoodlums invaded the area on Wednesday night at about 11:45 p.m., shooting sporadically to scare the residents, most of whom were preparing to go to bed. He therefore called on Jibia Vigilante Group commanders to always mobilize themselves and patrol Kagadama, Magama, Faru, including Bayan Ashibiti community, insisting that the general public must stand firm to confront the bandits. Well, still ahead on the news at 10. Central Bank's Purchasing Managers Report for August shows that economic activities expand for the first time in 13 months as index rises to 50.2. Well, that's in business news. Let's join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. Elder statesman Pa Edwin Clark is asking the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, to arrest the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, over his recent statement during the People's Democratic Party State Congress in Port Harcourt, where he threatened to cause political crisis in any state that interferes in the politics of Rivers State. He made the call at a news conference in Abuja. The Ijaw leader says the words of the minister marked a flagrant disrespect to President Bola Tinubu, who appointed him, describing his comments as uncontrolled and capable of inciting violence in the country. He asked the Inspector General of Police to compel Mr. Wike to withdraw his statement.
Wike has breached a number of Nigerian laws, public laws, and so on. He has committed crime, and for him to call on to say that he will burn states belonging to PDP governors and so on, it's treasonable. It's treasonable. All of that totality, Wike has committed treason. Is it your already that committed treason but say, I call for revolution in Nigeria? Is that what you are saying? Where did he say it? In what ground? At what ground? What impact did he make? But here is a serving minister in the Federal Republic of Nigeria saying that he will burn the estates of his colleagues. He will burn their hands and they won't sleep again in their houses. He will do everything to disorganize the governments of those states. Nobody, no governor, no minister can go to that extent. It's a breach of the Constitution.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, has called for immediate and collective action to address the alarming rate of road crashes in Nigeria. He made the call in Abuja during the launch of the Federal Road Safety Corps mobile app and digitized National Crash Reporting Information System. Mr. Akume notes that between January and December 2023, over 5,000 Nigerians lost their lives in road crashes, while 31,000 were injured in such situations. Our correspondent, Benny Ark, reports.
That embraces the future. In a bid to reduce the alarming rate of road accidents in Nigeria, the Federal Road Safety Corps is launching a mobile app and digitalized National Crash Reporting Information System. In attendance are top officials, including the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, members of the House of Representatives, the Emir of Zauzau, His Highness Hamid Bamali, and representatives of government agencies. I am today particularly happy. The Corps Marshal, Mr. Shehu Mohammed, in his address, highlights the idea behind the development of the app. The mobile app is a software application that can be used on boards to alert us on sensitive road safety issues through programs, features such as excessive speeding, dangerous driving, verifying our vehicle document, among others. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, is a special guest of honor, and he uses the occasion to make a call to action. Between January to July 2024, 2,776 persons were killed and 16,000 injured as a result of road traffic crashes. These figures call for concern from both governments and non-governmental stakeholders on road safety. It also reminds us of the need for more efforts and urgent action towards reducing the figures for various means. The FRSC mobile app is expected to strengthen commitment to road safety and contribute positively to reducing road traffic crashes. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
The federal government has approved a 50% increase in the feeding allowance for inmates in Nigeria's custodial centers with effect from August 2024 as part of measures aimed at improving the welfare of inmates. The public relations officer of the Nigeria Correctional Service, Abubakar Umar, announced this at a joint news conference organized by the spokespersons of security, military and paramilitary agencies. He further announced that the increase is the first phase of a broader review intended to enhance the living conditions of all inmates.
It is a monthly news conference of spokespersons of security, military and paramilitary agencies coordinated by the Office of the National Security Advisor.
The Nigerian Navy,
the spokesperson of the Nigerian Customs Service, rails out the successes recorded by some of the agencies in the last month.
The Nigerian security and response agencies have remained steadfast in their mission to protect the nation and its citizens. As part of ongoing efforts to ensure transparency and accountability, the agencies are pleased to provide an update on critical security issues addressed in August 2024.
Fielding questions at the event, the condition of inmates in the nation's custodial centers and the wanted Britain accused of subversive activities is brought to the fore.
On the issue of if there is increase or the skyrocketing cost of food, the government has actually reviewed the feeding allowance of inmates in our custody with 50%. And this is just the first phase of the review. The government is also looking at the next phase where they will actually improve the allowance of inmates.
I've contacted him here again. They are going to inform the general public about the status, whether it's an illegal immigrant or not. But whatever the situation is, we still want to reiterate that Mr. Andrew Wine and Lucky Obiya are still wanted on our list.
The repeated cases of importation of dangerous cargo, including arms and ammunition, through on a port is addressed by the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, who made a brief appearance.
My visit to ONE is not unconnected with the state of our national security. It was nice that we needed to sound an alarm over what is becoming a repeated cases of smuggling of dangerous drugs, cargoes through our seaports.
The monthly joint news conference under the coordination of the Office of the National Security Advisor is aimed at promoting synergy among spokespersons of security agencies.
That's it on the nation's capital. For more on the news at 10, it's back to you, Ayo, in Lagos.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Zenith Bank PLC has reported that more than 40% of all non-oil export transactions in Nigeria, totaling $1.8 billion, were processed by the end of the 2023 financial year. This information was shared by the Group Managing Director and CEO of Zenith Bank, Dr. Adora Umeoji, during the 2024 Zenith Bank International Trade Seminar on non-oil export in Lagos, while she was explaining the bank's impact in supporting non-oil export businesses. Seminar participants underscored the necessity for increased investment in non-oil export products as a solution for economic diversification.
The 9th edition of the International Trade Seminar on Non-Oil Exports attracts financial experts, policymakers and entrepreneurs who continue to look out for more opportunities and new ways to improve the non-oil export business.
To deliver the welcome address. Thank you.
In his welcoming remarks, the Group Managing Director and CEO of Zenith Bank emphasizes the crucial role of non-oil exports as a driver of job creation and highlights how the bank has empowered its customers to achieve industry leadership in Nigeria.
As a testament to the success of all these Zenith Bank initiatives, at the end of 2023 financial year, over 40% of all non-oil export transactions in Nigeria, amounting to $1.8 billion, were processed through Zenith Bank. To awaken the giant, we must increase the number and volume of export products we have in Nigeria. We also need to add value to our exports by processing them into finished goods, thereby creating massive job opportunities for the Nigerian youths.
Presentations by the two keynote speakers revolves around the theme Awakening the Giant, which directly speaks to the untapped potentials within the non-oil segment of the economy and how to optimize them.
We must transform this economy to be an export, particularly non-export economy.
We should position ourselves, we should pivot to say that in 5, 10, 15, and 20 years, this is what we want non-oil export to contribute to the national basket.
Besides the theme, panel discussions address current challenges in the non-oil export business, policy and regulatory issues amid shifting economic landscapes.
They promised us export expansion grant. We pay NES. I know of Starlink. We are paying NES more than 3 billion naira in this year because of our export value. But we have never gotten the export expansion grant for how many years? So these are things that are discouraging so many people, especially the younger generation, to come into it.
As at this morning when I checked, there are between 11 to 24 documentation processes for export. We are looking forward to when we can collapse such documentations to a single-digit document as we have achieved in customs.
Zenith Bank launched the Non-Oil Export Seminar in 2015 as an initiative to deepen the discussion, foster collaboration and innovation to boost non-oil export business in Nigeria. The bank says it remains committed to promoting non-oil exports and developing robust financial products and incentives for sector operators.
More business news now with Will Ibo. Will?
Thank you, Ayotunde. Now, Nigerian businesses recorded their first expansion for the first time in 13 consecutive months. And this is according to the August Purchasing Managers Index PMI report released by the Central Bank. Key highlights of the CBN report shows that the composite PMI for the month stood at 50.2 points, indicating expansion in economic activities in contrast to 49.7 points reported for July. Sectoral breakdown shows that the services sector also recorded expansion for the third consecutive month at 50.7, while the agricultural sector registered expansion for the first month, also at 50.7. At the same time, output was higher. However, employment was slightly lower at 48.7. The CBN's PMI report is a sharp contrast to the PMI report for August released by Stanbic IBTC earlier this week, which showed that Nigeria's headline PMI increased slightly to 49.9 points in August. Now, in a major boost to the Nigerian economy, the Bank of Industry BOI has raised 1.425 billion euros through the senior phase of its global loan syndication, exceeding its target by 42.5%. This oversubscription, backed by major international financial markets, highlights strong confidence in the BOI and the Nigerian economy. The facility includes a fully guaranteed and partially guaranteed tranche by the Africa Finance Corporation. This achievement follows BOI's successful repayment of a €1 billion syndicated loan in July 2024, which was raised in 2022. According to BOI's Managing Director, Dr. Olasupo Olusi, this is the largest syndication in the bank's history, and the deal will provide critical, low-interest, long-tenured funds to Nigeria's private sector, in line with the President Bola Tinubu's vision for economic growth. BOI, which appointed Africa Finance Corporation and Standard Chartered Bank as global coordinators for the facility, is also receiving support from institutions such as First Abu Dhabi Bank, African Export-Import Bank, and Rand Merchant Bank, as well as local support from the CBN. The proceeds from this syndication will be used to meet the increasing demand for BOI's loans across sectors like manufacturing, agriculture, and technology. With strong interest from local and international investors, BOI expects a successful conclusion to the ongoing phase of the loan syndication process. The federal government is committing to increase the production of crude oil to 2 million barrels by December 2024 to enable the country to raise the much-needed resources because of its current economic realities. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Minister Anikin Lukobiri, announced this when he met with the management team of one of the local oil producers. Mr. Lukobiri pledged the federal government's support for all players to ensure the increase of the nation's crude oil production. And negative sentiments prevailed at the domestic equities market as the all-share index dropped further today by 0.34%. John Mekwa tells us more.
Thank you so much, Will. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stock market report. Well, it's a second red day for the NGX at the close of trade today. 188 billion naira has been shaved off the market cap, closing at 55.265 trillion naira, while our all-share index is still around the 96, but it's getting really thin there, 96,210.20. The market dropped 0.34%. Now, top trades for today, we see Zenith Bank by volume leading that, 56 million. O&O also joined that, but it's still profit taking for a second trading session. 42 million in volume is what we see with O&O, and then GTCO is 28 million in that park, the top trades park. Now we look at the sectors expectedly with so much profit taking. Banking is down today. Everybody was down, the Fugas that is, except for FBN Holding, that was unchanged, so it didn't really move that counter. Consumer goods is also down. Flour mill, Nigerian breweries dropped that 0.39%. So the counter, the oil and gas counter is green, but it's not because of O&O today, it's because of Japan Gold that gained and dropped that counter. That's the oil and gas counter in the green, the only one in the green among these major ones. But at the close of a trade today, it's to the victory of the bear.
And that's a wrap on business news. It's back to you, Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Will. U.S. President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, has offered to change his not guilty plea in a federal tax evasion case moments before the trial began today in a courtroom in Los Angeles. his last-minute reversal could lead to his second criminal conviction this year. Here's Simon Pusey with other international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The Olympic athlete Rebecca Cheptegei has died days after being doused in petrol and set on fire by a former boyfriend. The 33-year-old Ugandan marathon runner who competed in the recent Paris Olympics had suffered extensive burns after Sunday's attack. She was rushed here to Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. A report filed by a local administrator alleged the athlete and her ex-partner had been wrangling over a piece of land. Police say an investigation is underway. Attacks on women have become a major concern in Kenya. In 2022, at least 34% of women said they had experienced physical violence, according to a national survey. In 2021, Kenyan runner Agnes Tirop was found stabbed to death at her home in the Rift Valley. Cheptegei's parents described how she was a good and polite child before the doctor in charge spoke to reporters.
We've done all that we could for her. She had a severe percentage of burns, which unfortunately led to multi-organ failure.
An armed man has been fatally shot by German police near the Nazi documentation center and Israeli consulate in the southern city of Munich. Here, a video on social media showing a man firing at police officers near the consulate with a rifle fitted with a bayonet. And here, a video on social media with the sound of repeated gunfire as officers returned fire. The Israeli consulate was closed at the time for a memorial service marking the 52nd anniversary of the 1972 Munich Olympics attack by Palestinian militants, which killed 11 Israeli athletes and a police officer. French President Emmanuel Macron has named Michel Barnier as Prime Minister almost 2 months after France's snap elections ended in political deadlock. The 73-year-old is the EU's former chief Brexit negotiator and led talks with the UK government between 2016 and 2019. A veteran of the right-wing Republicans Party, he has had a long political career and filled various senior posts both in France and within the EU.
The UK says it wants Canada.
He will now have to form a government that will need to survive a National Assembly divided into 3 big political blocs. Known in France as Monsieur Brexit, Mr. Barnier will be France's oldest Prime Minister since the Fifth Republic came into being in 1958. 4 people who died when the Bayesian superyacht sank off the coast of Sicily last month suffocated after oxygen depleted in a pocket of air they were trapped in. Tycoon Mike Lynch and his daughter Hannah and banking executives Jonathan Bloomer and his wife Judy Bloomer were among the 7 people who lost their lives when the vessel went down during a violent storm. Post-mortem examinations revealed that none of them had water in their lungs, suggesting they suffocated instead of drowning. City council officials say Rome is considering limiting access to the Trevi Fountain, one of its busiest monuments, ahead of an expected bumper year for tourism in the Eternal City. The Italian capital is preparing to host the 2025 Jubilee, a year-long Roman Catholic event expected to attract around 32 million tourists and pilgrims. Under the draft plans, visits to the fountain would require a prior reservation, with fixed time slots and a limited number of people allowed to access the steps around it. Other cities are facing protests over problems brought by so-called over-tourism, including Barcelona and Venice. And a humanoid robot is being programmed to fly by researchers in Italy who are hoping it can be used in dangerous rescue operations in future. Named Iron Cub, the robot has a jet turbine on each arm and one on each shoulder. The team is working on systems to allow the robot to maintain steady flight and control takeoffs and landings and the transition between flying, landing and walking. One day, it's hoped Iron Cub will perform search and rescue operations in locations too dangerous or inaccessible for people. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Let's begin in Pretoria, South Africa, where Nigeria's Junior Tigers bounced back from their opening defeats to Egypt at the FIBA Under-18 Women's Afro Basketball competition to record a commanding performance with a record 107-30 thrashing of Zimbabwe earlier today. The Nigerian girls led all 4 quarters of the thrilling game 29-5, 27-7, 26-12, and 25-6. Top performer for Nigeria was Dubame Begi with 20 points, 2 rebounds, and 7 assists. The girls return to the court this Sunday, where they will take on Uganda in their 3rd Group C game. Let's take you to Paris now, where Team Nigeria's powerlifting silver medalist Esther Nwogu says her target was to win the gold at the 2024 Paralympic Games in the women's up to 41 kg powerlifting event, but had to compete in the finals with a shoulder injury. Well, she told our correspondent Austin Okunakpan that the zeal did not give up. Her zeal not to give up helped her win a medal at the Summer Games.
Actually, what I had in mind before coming here was to break the world record and go back home with a gold medal. But 2 days ago, something terrible really happened that I broke my shoulder, and according to MRI, they said I have a crack in bone. So everybody thought I wouldn't have made it. Although I've never doubted myself, because I know this is fight to finish. So even while I was going, my spirit told me we died here. So that was the spirit I went there. I was very, very prepared, because I've already broken my personal record and the world record before the incident happened.
And more reactions from the games. This time, para-badminton bronze medalist Eniola Bolaji. She's thrilled about her performance at the Paris game, and she says the right preparations and support from Nigerians helped her achieve the feat.
I have people that have been supportive. You know, when you have things you need for training, you won't mind to train very hard. I have the Federation BFN. I have the president. The president have been supportive, Mr. Francis Obi. I have support from Kano International Limited. I have sponsor from LMK Sports, and I have sponsor from my own sports dad at home, Mr. Garuba Mustafa. So you see the support. When I have everything I need, there's nothing that is stopping me from training. I have things I want, so it's a very good preparation for me.
And that's your Sports News tonight. I am Kelly. Gigas, back to you today.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. The Vice President Kashim Shatima today summoned the Minister of State for Petroleum, Oil, the NNPCL GCEO, and the National Security Advisor for a meeting at the Presidential Villa. According to the Minister of State for Petroleum, Oil, the meeting was convened to discuss how to address the lingering issue of fuel scarcity in the country. And we also told you that President Bola Tinubu has sought the consolidation of economic partnership with the Republic of China as he continued his drive for more investments into the country and for the African continent. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde. Balogun, have a good night and please stay safe.